This review has been made possible by Toyota of Naperville. As you know, Toyota has tons of brand new Toyotas available for purchase, but did you know that they also have a remarkable selection of used cars? Head on over to toyotaofnaperville.com and look through hundreds of used cars for sale right now.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2015 Honda Pilot EXL. Up front is a 3.5 liter V6 and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now I'm super excited to be driving this here Honda Pilot for a couple of reasons. First of all, I know a bunch of people that own Honda Pilots. I could probably rattle off 7 or 8 people off the top of my head that I know have either owned or still currently own Honda Pilots. But the second reason is the fact that I haven't reviewed a Pilot before. Somehow in 747 cars, I haven't reviewed a Pilot. So today that changes. But before we get on with anything else, I have a website, zackpradle.com, where you can buy stickers and merch. I currently have this retro sticker pack available for just $10 with free shipping. You can also submit your vehicle to be reviewed by me through a quick and easy submission form, or you can read my behind the scenes blog to see what I'm filming before it comes out on the channel. But let's get back to that 3.5 liter V6. Well, it's a J series engine, particularly the J35Y6, and it is the exact same engine as you'll find in the current model Passport. I just reviewed one of those, the current model Odyssey, and the current model Ridgeline. This is a third generation Pilot, and to this day in 2022, it's still being manufactured. We're still on the third generation. It started in 2009 and has had that 3.5 liter through its entire run. Honda has used some form of the J series since the late 90s, so it's a pretty work-through engine. I always tend to mention that. It makes 280 horsepower and will get you 19 miles to the gallon in the city and 26 miles to the gallon on the highway. Paired to that 3.5 liter is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, in the EX and the EXL, you get the 6-speed, but if you moved up to the Touring or Elite Honda Pilot from 2015, you actually got the newer 9-speed automatic transmission. So for this year, you could get either the 6 or the 9. They have now since moved to everyone gets the 9-speed, but this is still the 6. Last but not least, this particular Pilot is all-wheel drive, and we'll talk about some settings with that a little bit later on. But you could also find front-wheel drive Pilots of the era. With that out of the way, let's talk about the interior, because we have some very interesting gauges in front of me. Well, on the left, I have my tachometer, in the center I have my speedometer, and on the right, I have my fuel and coolant temperature. I do have a little digital readout in the center. Reminds me of like old wristwatches I used to have as a kid. Little digital fun readouts there. But the interesting thing about these gauges is the way that they're designed. The needles for the gauges are behind a sort of plexiglass almost, or plastic covering. And so there's this actual 3D depth to these gauges. I almost feel like I could fill these gauges up with water and have like a bubbler behind them. They're very, very interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen a gauge cluster like this before, and it adds a cool depth and just, it sparks my creativity, not sure why. On the steering wheel on the left, I have my channel, volume, and mode button, as well as some phone options. And on the right, I have my cruise control options. The overall look and feel of the steering wheel is pretty good. I recently drove a Honda Civic from 2012, and I have the same thoughts here where the steering wheel still looks and feels relatively modern, and I like that. Off to the left, I do have my traction control off and a couple of dead switches. And then I have my parking brake release. And moving on to the door, I have my power mirror options, power locks, and power windows. The front 2 windows are auto. Moving into the center, I do have a nice little infotainment screen. It's giving me tons of really sweet information. I'll cycle through it now. And of course, we do have a backup camera, which is decent. It's not anything too crazy, but this was before it was legally required that you had to have a backup camera, so the fact that it has one at all is very nice. Overall, I like this infotainment system. The biggest thing that I really like about it is the hood. There's this hood that comes over to stop any glares from hitting the screen, and as a reviewer, as someone that drives tons of cars, it's a very big oversight with a lot of manufacturers. You hit the light a certain way and then now you can't see your screen. But it's very rare that that would happen here in the Pilot because of this big, nice shade. Moving down the center stack, we have buttons for AM and FM, satellite radio, CD, USB, and clock, And then we have some more radio options for my favorite in volume, skip track, scan, and category. Down below that, even more radio options for phone, return, display, and setup. Kind of interesting. There's so many buttons here for just the radio. So if you like physical buttons, you don't like touch screens, this is the car for you. Then I have a very compact area for my climate controls. I get dual zone. I also get heated seats. And I can control the rear climate controls, which is fantastic, especially if you have a family. Very, very important. Off to the left of all that, I do have a VTM4 lock. This is a locking differential, which is really, really nice, especially here. You know, I don't really think of the Honda Pilot as an off-road vehicle, but it has this really nice lockable option to help out with terrain. Then the sizing here starts to get kind of awkward. Off to the left, I have this tiny little area for the shifter. It really reminds me of like a speedboat throttle you would see. Kind of interesting there. And then I get this cubby in the middle, but it's taller than it is wide. So I'm not sure how much storage it could really be useful for. However, you could rest your phone right there. It has an anti-skid pad, and my phone's been there this whole time and it hasn't moved. So that's nice, but you can't really pack much else into it. Off to the far right, I do have a 12-volt outlet, which is very nice. It has this nice cover that goes over it as well, so if you don't want to stare at it, you don't have to. And then we get this giant openable center console. This could fit a rotisserie chicken. One of these days, I will do a rotisserie chicken test in one of these cars, but for now, I don't have that capability. However, we will do a big friggin' bottle test in these cup holders, and Honda, saving the day as always in this era, passes the big freaking bottle test. It has these like foam fingers that sort of bend and will fit almost any size cup, which is fantastic, and the big friggin' bottle fits. Then I do have a center console with a 12-volt outlet and an aux in, as well as a USB adapter. This looks aftermarket, but it isn't. And then we got to talk about the seats. The seats are heated. My driver's seat is power, and they are finished in this nice leather. I've always liked this era of leather from Honda. I think it's held up incredibly well. I think it still looks fresh and modern and still looks fantastic even after 109,000 miles. With that being said, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2015 Honda Pilot EXL. Couple of things to note back here. Now, I could have been nicer with this chair and moved it up a little bit, but I don't have as much room as I would have really liked. I praise the Honda Passport because it's the perfect size two-row SUV and offers tons of space in the back without having to squeeze for a third row. And when I say squeeze for a third row, this is what I'm talking about, because the Pilot isn't that much bigger than the Passport, but it has a third row, so they had to kind of condense the seats in here a little bit. And yes, there is a bar under here. I can move my seat, but I can only move it forward to be more squished. This is as far back as it'll go. So, not in love with the back seat space back here, but again, this seat can move up. This isn't a complaint, it's just an observation. I have my own climate controls down here, as well as a 12-volt outlet, and I have fold-down cup holders right here. Now, like I said, we do have a third row of seats as well. I'll show some footage here, but an issue I'm having is folding these seats forward to get back there. They don't really fold all that much, so it's kind of a big process to get back there, which I'm not in love with. There's a huge argument nowadays if people are buying SUVs instead of minivans. The minivan is dying. A lot of makers who used to make them no longer do. The minivan isn't popular. Everyone wants an SUV. This right here is my argument of why minivans are just superior. If you do have a family, I'd highly, highly recommend a Honda Odyssey over a Honda Pilot just for that back seat space. The less time you're fussing getting kids into the third row, the happier you're going to be in life. Let's go take a quick look at the cargo space. All right, so we're on the back of the 2015 Honda Pilot EXL. Now, interestingly, it's a manual up tailgate, but we actually have a power down, which is kind of interesting. Anyway, once we're back here, we do get a 12-volt outlet. Very, very nice. We get some storage over here. Actually, nice amount of storage. Then we have some tie downs and things like that, and you could hook up a privacy cover. That's what these are for. Overall, not crazy back seats. I can put these down if I would like, and honestly, owning a Pilot, I'd probably leave this third row down. One issue is pulling them back up. You obviously go like this, but you actually have to lean into the car pretty far. So if you do have a bad back, it's not going to be very pleasurable. Like I said, we do have a power down tailgate, so close it up like that. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I don't think the Honda Pilot is really going to win any award contest for its glamorous style. It's fine. It's a Honda Pilot. I don't know what else you want, but it's presentable. It looks fine. I don't think if you pulled up at your next family gathering, people would hiss or spit at you, which is, always a nice thing to know. But now let's get to my final thoughts here on the 2015 Honda Pilot EXL. Well, something I found interesting, I was looking up sales numbers of this. This body style, which again, like I said, started in 2009 and is still going on, has never sold under 100,000 units per year. The lowest number I could find was 108,000 units per year, and it goes upwards of, I think, 156 or 159,000 units in 2018. This car sells, and sells by the truckload, by the boatload, by the shipload, by the, I don't even know what's larger than a container ship. But this thing sells, and I understand why. One of the first things that I noticed when getting into the Pilot is how easy it is to drive. The steering wheel is so light. I would say just as light as the Honda Civic that I drove, a vehicle half the size. Visibility is great. I get that third row of seats. I have plenty of storage options in here. It's decently equipped for technology. I have interesting gauges to look at. I get it. I understand why these sell so much. Are they flashy? No. But I don't know of any Honda badged vehicle that is supposed to be flashy. And for you foreign viewers, I don't count the NSX because that was branded as an Acura here, a luxury brand. I know the rest of the world that was a Honda, but I'm not counting that here. Hondas aren't flashy. That's not really their go-to. That's not their motto, their mantra. And so if you can deal with that, if you can put up with not having the coolest car on the block, you're probably going to have one of the best cars on the block, at least in terms of a used car purchase. It's nice and quiet in here. I'm enjoying the driving experience. The J Series, like I said, they're still manufacturing this exact engine to this day, so finding parts is not hard at all. If you go to a junkyard and can't find a Pilot, find a Passport, Odyssey, Ridgeline, you're going to be fine. You're going to be able to find parts. So I really don't have any complaints about this Pilot. I feel like as a car reviewer I should, and a lot of people will see that this is a used vehicle from Toyota of Naperville, but I will be the first to tell you that this is a very good car. It's a very good used car purchase, and I think its next owner will be very, very satisfied. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Toyota of Naperville. This is one of their used vehicles on the lot. They are absolutely awesome. We've been working together for about 3 years. I've reviewed literally hundreds of their used and new vehicles. They're fantastic. If you want a new Toyota, please talk to them. Or if you want a used vehicle, fantastic quality used cars. They have tons on the lot, and they are ready to help you. Their information is up on the screen as well as found in the description below. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.